Hey, my name's Devin Bhushan. I'm the founder and CEO of Squint, and I'm really excited. Today I'm sitting down with Joe Perkins, and I'm pumped. He's the COO of Carolina Handling, and this is the first time we've met in person.
Yeah.
So excited to be here and excited to talk about operations and AI.
Yeah.
Joe, you want to do
and
an
love
intro?
the fact that you guys traveled over from the West Coast to come out and see our home. So, so Joe Perkins, as Devin mentioned, Chief Operating Officer here at Carolina Handling. So Carolina Handling, for those who may not know, we're the premier intralogistics company here within the Southeast, handling everything from forklifts and service to automation and consulting. I mean, we're into everything that is moving the world and moving our customers. So excited to talk about all things AI and all things Squint.
And you're a baseball fan.
And I am a baseball fan. Played for a little while. Had an opportunity to play in college a little bit after that. Coached a little bit. Longtime Red Sox fan. There's a lot of bandwagon folks out there after they started winning World Series. But man, got into it because of an opportunity I had to play against Trot Nixon way back when. So love my Red Sox.
So cool. Let's start with maybe it would be great to hear a little bit more about Carolina Handling. I know you talked about you gave the quick intro. Can you tell us like a little bit more about the business? What do you guys do? How did you kind of get to this role? How did you get to this place in your career?
Yeah, so I've been here for 14 years, but have been connected to Carolina Handling for the better part of 25 because I was a customer prior to this. So led operations within a food service company, and Carolina Handling was my partner. And even back then, they were committed to looking at things that helped our business be more efficient, drive throughput, find ways to improve safety, things of those sorts. Over the last 14 years that I've been here, we've really seen our brand start to expand into things like automation and consulting and the things that I mentioned earlier. Our focus really is on the ecosystem with our customers and how everything ties together, because automation doesn't happen without forklifts. Forklifts don't happen without service. I mean, all of these things are interconnected, and the way that we apply data to the decisions that we're driving with customers is really important today, and more customers are looking for those data-driven decisions to help empower and move them forward. It's an exciting time to be in material handling, especially after the boom post-COVID with so much e-commerce business and consumer demand, and seeing how the landscape shifted from just moving pallets to moving pieces and things like that.
So I want to dig into that for a second. So what changed post-COVID? Like why did this shift happen?
Yeah, so if you think back to your days of visiting a mall or visiting Walmart, I mean, it was pallet in, pieces out. But they were breaking down that pallet at the retail level. The moment that we started buying everything through Amazon and buying everything online, now all of a sudden the retailers are somewhat cut out. We're not going into the store anymore. So it's shipping in each from a warehouse. And on top of that, that person's not returning the wrong size, wrong color, broken item that they got to the retailer. It's now coming back to the warehouse. So
it's completely changed.
Yeah. So the number where it was a pallet moving out of a facility, and that was one, that pallet has now become 100. And things like the reverse logistics and managing returns. I don't know about your household, but I got a wife and a daughter that they'll buy 3 sizes and 3 different colors of the same shirt and return 6 of the ones they don't want. It's really changed how the supply chain functions.
When we were coming on this trip, I just bought new safety shoes.
Okay.
And I bought 3 sizes and 3 colors, and I returned 5 of them, so I can relate.
Yeah. So you're saying you might be part of the problem.
I'm part of the problem. Yeah, post-COVID.
Got it.
So what this was really interesting. I learned this about this space, but what percentage of goods are moved by equipment at some point that, Raymond or Toyota or Carolina Handling has touched? Do you have a sense of that scale?
To some degree.
Yeah.
First off, I think in some capacity, everything's being touched by some type of material handling equipment, albeit a forklift, conveyor, sortation, automated mobile robots. Something is happening in that supply chain to move that product. When you look at how dominant Raymond and Toyota have been over the years, it's pretty safe to say that we're moving over half of the world's product in this space. And so customers are reliant on us relative to being professionals and knowing what's needed in that space. But they're becoming even more reliant on us relative to helping them solve everyday challenges in their business beyond the forklift. So I know you and I were talking a little earlier around how does lean and principles like Toyota Production Systems or Raymond Lean Management, how does that play into a customer and helping them with their throughput, helping them with their safety, helping them meet consumer demand that, again, since COVID has almost doubled in some spaces.
Interesting. Maybe we rewind. So we met over a year ago, maybe a couple of years ago now. When we first met, what was kind of the, this is prior to us kicking off all the AI efforts that we've done together. What was the field service operations landscape like for you pre all of the AI stuff?
Yeah. So,
post-COVID, but pre some of the efficiencies.
Yeah. So it's important to understand Carolina Handling runs a little different model than some folks do.
Okay.
Our technicians are decentralized.
Okay.
So while we have a branch structure and we have facilities, our technicians aren't coming into the facility to check in. They're not coming in to pick up parts. They're not meeting with people every single day. They're really owners of their business out there in their vans going to serve customers. Mm-hmm. And prior to our efforts and what we've done in this space, our technicians were dependent on the information that existed in their van, the manuals that they had. Maybe they could phone a friend to get an answer. Maybe they could call our QA group and get an answer. But prior to us jumping into this space, there were a lot of answers that people didn't know they had access to. And they were trying really hard, some of it almost brute force. And I would say that landscape has changed as we've given them more access to data.
Well, so let's dive in both from maybe the person out in the field helping your customers point of view, and then also your management team. Okay. I'm curious about the two perspectives. So what was anecdotally and quantitatively, what did you see from operators who were out there helping with equipment? What were some of the problems that surfaced? Yeah,
so a couple things. Anytime we ran into something that was not a Raymond piece of equipment, it was a hunt to find someone.
Because of familiarity?
Right, yeah. Okay. I mean, we train our guys on Raymond equipment. A lot of them that come to us as technicians, this may be their first job as a technician, and so they've grown up around red or orange product, and they know that stuff, but you throw a conveyor in there or you throw a piece of competitive equipment at them, and maybe they don't know. We've also got technicians that we've hired that have been in this industry for a long time that may have that competitive knowledge or may come out of automation that have it. So they just had to find the right person. Another thing from an operator standpoint is that when you come into a family of 450 technicians and you're the new guy, all of a sudden I want to be that guy that has the cape on that plays superhero every single day. And when I can't do the same things he can, there's this feeling of inferiority. And honestly, there were times where we were losing technicians that were leaving the company because they felt like they just couldn't get it. They couldn't perform at the level that others were performing at. And the reality was they just didn't have access to the data. They hadn't done it before. And so today, giving them access to that, it empowers them and makes them feel like they can do more. I love that you brought up the managers, because for us, one of the things that we do track is how long does it take for us to get a technician from onboarded to 100% efficient or productive. And I could argue that they're productive the moment they start here. They're working, they got a time card that says 40 hours a week. They've worked 40 hours, so they were productive. but like the efficiency and all of that. So when we measure it, typically we see that for about the first 180, 190 days, they run at about 53% productivity. And the reason is they're being pulled out for classes and training and things like that. They're having to stop and ask a lot of questions. So from a manager standpoint, when you look at it it was like they were fighting, how do I get this guy up and running faster so
By
that
like
he's productive?
month 6.
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay.
And we're seeing now that when we can put access to information at their fingertips, now all of a sudden these guys they can turn a wrench. They can fix the problem. They just have to have the knowledge of how to fix the problem.
You should share the story you shared with me at lunch. So like, you know, what is kind of the night and day difference now when you walk into that training room and people ask you a question?
Oh gosh.
Or you hear a question.
Yeah, so it was interesting. I know I told you a little bit about it, but I walked into the training room. We were actually in a troubleshooting and repair class. So the questions they're asking them is the theory around how to get to where they need to be. And I was standing in the back of the classroom, and I pulled Squint out of my pocket, and I typed the question in. And I'm just listening to the answers that these guys are giving. And then I spoke out, and I was like, well, hey, that code 50 on a Raymond order picker, it says that you should run the I-23 test, and it should lead to this. And they're like, whoa, how do you know that? Because I always tell them, like, I have no idea what those guys do. They're so much better at this than what I am. But when they asked me, I was like, yeah, I just use Squint. And not only did it tell me what I should do, but if that doesn't fix the problem, go ask these questions. What noise is it making? What's it doing in this situation? Again, it was taking them much deeper into the troubleshooting so that now they could get those answers that maybe they didn't have.
Yeah.
And to see the light bulb go off, not only in the technicians that were sitting there, but even our corporate trainers, because they came to me after the fact and they're like, we need to find a way to make sure that this technology and how to use it and what the best practices are around it becomes part of our training for our guys. So it was really cool to see it firsthand and see how it has that impact.
That's awesome. And I mean, the idea, I think you made a really good point, right? It's not just giving them the information, but it's then letting them use their skills. Like they know how to do the work. It's
right.
It's putting them on the right path and then letting them kind of blossom from there, right? And I think you made another interesting point, which was introducing this at the training stage allows people to kind of adopt it and then take it with them through their journey at Carolina Handling.
It does. Right?
It's not just a day one tool.
Our HR team sees it very similarly to what you just said. Like day one, day two, like how do we make people aware that the questions you're going to ask, something that's in our policy and procedure manual, it's in Squint. So I'm not telling you that you can't call HR and ask them a question. I'm just telling you that if it's 9 o'clock at night and your wife wants to know who's our dental provider, you can go in and say, hey, who's our dental provider? And it's going to give you that document and tell you, what your coverage looks like. Yeah. So it's really cool to see how the entire team is engaging with it.
That's awesome. So when you first brought Squint in, I think you had a very specific vision for where this was headed. Can you share that? And then maybe we'll talk through kind of how things have evolved as you've put AI out on the front line.
Yeah. So if I go back even further before when you and I met, honestly, I think I was seeking a chatbot. There was information like who's our dental provider, what's our boot allowance, things that people should know from their onboarding and the documentation we had shared with them.
And it felt like low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. It wasn't in what they did every single day. So therefore they forgot where to find it, and then they had to go and ask a question. So I had told our team, like, let's get this chatbot. Let's stand it up so that we can do this. Fast forward to when we got to Squint, we were recognizing the fact that we just needed to give access to data. The manuals that we had in place, I mean, they're on our guys' tough books. They're on their phones. They can go and get it, but now they're fumbling through the find feature in a PDF and things like that. Or there's multiple sources of the information, and they were stopping it where they got it the first time, and yet there was supporting documentation over here. So what I was looking to do was to bring all the information that we had to them in one place so that they could pick and choose and say, yep, that's what I'm looking for. That's going to help me achieve this repair faster.
Yeah, and then talking a little bit more about the value that you've seen since, because it sounds like it started as a chatbot. You introduced it. Now I know, I've been out on the floor and I've seen it, but like folks have procedures and you have all these different SKUs of lifts and trucks that you guys support. There's a lot of complexity that you've loaded into the product.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the value that how do you derive that value? You guys look at first call, complete rate, things like that. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So we have a whole dashboard of success metrics that we've put together. You mentioned first call complete. So when you look at how Squint can assist us, today a breakdown comes in from a customer. And I actually heard a technician tell me this morning when I was out in the shop. He's like, before I even call that customer back or start to make plans to repair that, I load in what they've told me into Squint just to see where it's going to direct me. Am I going to need a part? Am I going to need help? Is this something that I've done before? Those types of things. Before, we would have responded and then gotten there, and maybe we don't have the part. Or maybe I've never made that repair and I'm the wrong guy to be on site. So from a first call complete standpoint, there's no chance of me driving that metric north. Now when the guys are looking at it, they see that part. I can go and borrow that part off of another guy's van. Or maybe I'm not
proficient. Before you drive out.
Yeah, before I get out there. Because the way we measure first call complete is you get there, you got the right part, you make the repair the first time, you don't leave the site. If you don't have the part or you don't make the repair and you leave and then come back, that's not first call complete. We're trying to think, how quickly can we get that truck back up and running for that customer? So when guys can see I don't have the part, I'm not proficient in the repair, I can either suggest that someone else goes or something else happens so that we can achieve that for the customer. The other things that we're looking at, we have a QA group who is responsible for making sure that the maintenance that we're doing for our customers, they're coming behind them and checking, they're working with our technicians to make them better. That audit process got slowed because of the number of calls that were coming in from technicians asking questions. And so we're looking at the volume of tech assist that are coming in. And since we launched Squint, you can see it every single month. The volume of tech assist calls continue to go down, which means that group can now go out and do a much more value-added activity, which is working with the techs to provide a better product and a better service to our customers.
And so, as you look at then AI impacting the workforce, it's not about replacing the jobs. You're actually thinking about it as like, hey, how can I leverage my time in a more important way?
Yeah. So, it's funny you bring that up because when I first started exploring AI, the fear that existed from people that I talked to, it was like, no, it's like that movie I, Robot. The robots are going to come and take us over, or it's going to take my job and things like that. And I was with an economist this week who was talking about the birth rates in America and how the birth rates in every household cannot sustain replacing mom and dad in the workforce. So as we continue to move forward, he even made the comment, he said we may have seen the peak of our population in America already. If that's the case, then who's going to do these jobs? So we have to find ways to supplement the workforce so that we can take those talents and apply them in other areas to continue to grow our businesses.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think, looking at, we've talked about AI, but looking at the landscape of AI products, what makes Squint stand out to you versus, going through with an enterprise ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot, right? There's a lot out there.
There is.
I talk to folks all the time, and they're often struggling with trying to get through the cloudiness of what to pick, how to pick it. How did you land on something like Squint?
So you're right. I mean, between ChatGPT and Microsoft's products and all the other ones that are out there that just go out and scour the web to bring back an answer, we needed the security of knowing that the answer that came back was the right answer. And so what we really liked about Squint was that it's a walled garden. Like, we control the information that is in there.
Yeah.
And as I was doing a lot of research into AI prior, there's a lot of talk about hallucination and the fact that it has to give you an answer. You expect an answer.
Yeah.
So I can ask it for a repair on a Raymond truck, and if it doesn't have the answer, it's going to make something up based on what it finds, and then it could put my guys in a position where they repair it incorrectly, they repair it, and they're not safe. We wanted to make sure that we were controlling the information that made it to them. The other thing is that when you look at the content authors that are out there in those other platforms, it's everyone who decides they're going to post something in the World Wide Web. Whereas here, there's a validation feature into what's going in so that we know we're loading the best practice. We're loading the practice that's safe. We're loading the practice going to get the customer back up and running the fastest, and not just trusting some guy who's decided he wanted to be a forklift technician one day, and I'll load something into a Reddit thread.
Yeah. You were telling me about sometimes you go look at Reddit threads and just to see how close to reality they are.
Yeah, and it is wild to see some of the answers that come back, and I know that we don't want those answers coming in because I look at it knowing the little that I do, and I'm like, there's no way that's correct.
The other interesting thing that I think you're doing that is just so unique amongst our customer base is you've been the first person, and you told me this when we first talked, you had this vision for connecting the back office and the shop, right? And unifying them on one platform. And I know you've alluded to this with the dental plan example earlier.
Yeah.
But what made you take that leap? Because actually, believe it or not, that's unique. And so I think it'd be cool to share that story.
Yeah. So you know how easy it is to create a procedure in Squint. I mean, you pull out your phone, you record it, it cuts it up, it transcribes it. The next thing you know, you've got content that someone can follow. I mentioned earlier, we're real big into lean. So standard work and training documentation and all of these things that follow. When we would onboard new associates, granted, as part of the training process, those documents probably get put in front of them. But then week 2, week 3, hey, you're kind of on your own. What's my resource? Where do I go find that document? Because maybe I didn't listen, or maybe they didn't tell me where that exists. And so the vision that I had for it, especially for our office folks and support structure, was that they would be able to log in and say, hey, I'm in this feature and I'm having this problem. What do I do? And it would
pull the same problem statement.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's just like fixing a truck. We're just trying to fix the problem to get to the next step. Yeah. There's also a lot of procedures that certain groups have that other groups butt up with or depend on. So, for instance, a lease return for us, sales has a process that they use, service has a process they use, our fleet team has a process they use, finance may have something. But if we're able to see like what should happen in a lease return, and I can go in and ask the tool, what's my role as a sales coordinator in the lease return process, and it pulls that up, I can make sure that I've done that and I know where to pass it next, what to do with it to help another group.
Yeah. And I mean, the way we think about it is like our goal is to make sure every person has the information they need at the right time and place, right? Yeah. And that extends beyond the shop floor and into everything you do.
It does.
Life, right? Like, can we just get the information out to you at the right time?
Yeah. It has made it
makes sense.
So easy.
So as other leaders think about moving forward with their AI efforts in operations, what advice do you have for them? Because I think you've done a lot of it. You guys have moved really fast. There's been good, there's been bad. You have learnings.
Yeah.
Where should they start? How should they roll it out?
Yeah, I think the first thing is to start with why.
Okay.
Why am I even considering? And you can probably apply this structure to more than just Squint or more than just AI. In a lot of cases, whether it's technology or product that we're bringing in, like, you've got to stop and think about, why are we even considering this technology? What's it going to do for us? Is it going to improve the customer experience? Is it going to improve our technician or our associate experience? Is it driving profits? Is it reducing OpEx? Like, what are we trying to do with it? So I think that's the first piece. I think after that, you've got to sit set clear expectations for the team. What is this tool going to do, and what is it not going to do? A good example, when we onboarded Squint, I think everyone anticipated we were getting ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And so what's wild, if you were to ask Fernando at Raymond, he often says, hey, you should see the new question that one of your technicians asked. One of them was like, if swimming is such great exercise, why are whales so fat? But like, there's no way the tool's returning an answer for that.
Yeah.
But we were excited because it showed that guys were engaged with the tool and they wanted to see what it could do. But we had to set that clear expectation, and I would tell any leader who's getting into this space, like, you've got to be able to say, this is what we expect from the tool, this is what it's going to do, and this is how it's going to evolve. The other thing that was really cool for us, I think us starting with a small pilot, to be able to test it and understand what wasn't there that they wanted that maybe we hadn't thought of. It made them kind of feel like champions of the tool. They were already talking about it with their peers, and all of a sudden their peers are like, well, how come Devin gets this and I don't, and I want that? And so it made them eager to get engaged and want to grab that. And then I think the last piece is when we onboarded Squint, we knew all functions within the organization were going to use it.
Yeah.
I don't think we fully understood how all pieces of the organization needed to support it, though. And I don't mean just like the physical support of loading documents and things like that, but also the emotional support and how you challenge the use of the tool. Because it's those challenges that help us continue to evolve what the tool can do. I mean, even the conversations you and I were having this morning, I mean, you brainstorm just a little bit, and it's like, oh, here's another use case that we could apply within Squint. Let's go back and talk to Devin and tell him we need him to develop something else. But I do want to be honest, because I had been looking for AI.
Yeah.
Squint pops up. I fall in love with it so fast that, honestly, I pushed our team really fast. And honestly, we had to hit reset because I had pushed through some of the things I just told you, hey, I know other leaders should do in this space. I had just like, here we go, like, get it out there. I was calling IT, and it's like, get the license in the system. I was calling service, like, get the content in there. And there were some things structurally that, like, making sure you've got those folders set up so that the information is coming from the right place, making sure that the permissions are right so that the right people can create content and the right people can only see certain things. Like, some of those things that I missed early just because I was ready to get it out there and so excited, I would encourage others, like, make sure you got a plan.
Yeah, and I mean, we try to support that too from our side with our customer success team.
Yeah.
Right, and so I don't know, how has that experience been kind of like leveraging our customer success arm to also do some of the change management and planning with you?
So am I allowed to give a shout out to Carolina? Because, my goodness, the differentiator for you guys that I have seen has been this customer success role that you have. Because I don't feel like Carolina is ever trying to make us use Squint the way that you designed Squint. She is constantly
talk to her about that.
She is constantly working with us to understand what do we want to get out of Squint and how can she take that back and position that with the team back on the West Coast to create a better product for us as an end user. And she has helped us define what other success metrics. I think the other piece that comes out from a client success manager is that she's managing multiple end users and she's seeing the goodness of things that others are doing, and she can be suggestive in, hey, have you thought about doing it this way? And it's really helped us on our journey and our success in deploying the product.
Some of the like shared best practices
absolutely.
and things.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see how much you guys have evolved the deployment. Both from my side and Carolina's side. I think speaking on her behalf, we've learned a lot from you.
Yeah. She's been incredible.
Okay, prediction time. Final question I have for you.
Okay.
5 years from now, what do you think AI looks like in field services?
Okay, so I think we've gotten to a point where a customer calls, and before it ever goes to a technician, it has already looked at their van inventory to see if that part's on there. It's already looked at predictive analytic history and what's going on with this customer. It's already looked at the training records of that associate to understand they're proficient in it, and it's going to suggest who we should send out there. Secondly, I think from a predictive analytics standpoint, it's going to be able to pull work order history and things that you're seeing in that particular customer on that particular model, so that when you go and look at scheduled maintenance on a truck, you're not going to the customer saying, hey, here's a list of things. Like when you go get your car, your oil changed, and they're saying, oh, you need an air filter and your tires, man, you should replace them today, and they're just trying to drive part sales. I think it's going to give us something that creates confidence with the customer that if I want my equipment to maximize its uptime, then these are the things that I should pay attention to ensure that I'm going to get from scheduled maintenance to scheduled maintenance without a breakdown. I see it evolving at Carolina Handling even more so, because from a parts inventory management, our rentals out in the field, like being able to look at the modeling and how we are able to shrink inventories in certain areas without ever missing fill rate, it's going to help us manage our business so much better.
It's really valuable to hear kind of the way you're thinking about it. For us, the one thing that, we think about is how can we solve the problems that our customers are facing and enable them to, derive value not only from our product, but do more good in the world, right? There's so much more we could do if we could just accelerate what is possible.
Yeah.
Well,
you mentioned customers. We'll go to Modex here in a couple months. We were at ProMat last year, and the amount of artificial intelligence that is on end-of-arm tooling to help pick and pack, reduce errors, increase efficiencies. From an ergonomic standpoint, like it improves safety in a lot of places. I mean, I was talking to a friend the other day who said like they've got the bidirectional cameras in their car to pick up when people are texting and driving. Like, I know that can be misapplied as like, oh, this is Big Brother watching. But at the end of the day, when it's being applied in order to make sure that person gets home safely, because to your point, if you're not able to work, you're not able to do that good in the world. So how do we keep people working? How do we keep them productive? I love it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm honored we were able to come out here and visit you and see the facility. It's such a historic business that you guys are running, and I'm honored to work with you.
Yeah, well, dude, I'm glad that you guys made it out. We're celebrating 60 years. I mean, you came at a great time, and man, I can't say enough about Squint. I mean, we have loved the partnership. Where we see this thing going is limitless. So we're excited about
it's
continuing.
Just the beginning. There's so much to do.
It is.
Thank you for taking time today, Joe. I
Awesome.
really appreciate it.
Yep, you bet.